Hello everyone, what's going on? So back in with another feral related video. And I may have been a little bit cheeky. Okay, feral's not getting nerfed, we're actually getting buffed, but kind of. It's like a not fully necessarily a buff. It's a very weird interaction that's gonna happen now. But yeah, we did actually get buffed. I thought I'd bait you all in with saying we got nerfed just so that you'd all see the thumbnail and have a momentary mental crisis and breakdown. Maybe you just like, you're on your lunch break at work and you fall onto your knees in the office in pain. No, we are actually getting buffed. However, the buffs are a little bit peculiar, so let's take a look, okay? And we can break down what this all kind of means. So first of all, Blizzard has nerfed Balanced Druid, which is great. Now maybe guilds only stack 3 of them instead of stacking 4 of them. So that's cool. Opens up a spot for another Enhancement Shaman. But Feral Druid, we are getting some buffs here to our tier set interactions. And I'll kind of give my opinion on it at the end. But yeah, so let's see what they've said. They said, we really appreciate all of the feedback on the Feral set and feel that we should take some time to explain these changes. When previously tuning this bonus, we took multiple factors into account. The synergy of the set with other legendaries, its synergy with Feral's kit, the AOE component, and more. Since we last made adjustments during PTR testing, we've gotten a chance to incorporate a great deal of the feedback provided, take a fresh look at the numbers, and we found that, as players rightly called out, there was a disconnect in how impactful this bonus was in situations such as single target encounters. Our goal with these changes is to keep Feral being a strong option in single target encounters while increasing their AOE throughput. We will continue to actively watch discussions about this, and we want to say again, thank you for the feedback. We appreciate the community's patience and take care with the tuning of. So, a couple things. They want to focus on making sure that Feral is still strong in single target, which this doesn't necessarily do, in my opinion. This is a very, very minor increase in single target, if it even really is much of an increase in single target. So I think they could, if that's their intention, I think they could have maybe done this differently. But okay, that's what they're trying to do. Let's work with them on this one. They're also increasing the AoE and make sure that we can still do some AoE. So this buff to Sickle, I mean, that just does give us more AoE, so that's cool. Okay. It could be bigger. It could be more damage increase, but we can get into that. That's fine. The thing is, they say here, right? Our goal is to keep Feral being a strong option. The thing with Feral Druid is that in order for it to be a strong single target option in encounters, which I don't know if they just mean that for Raid or Mythic Plus as well, but in order for Feral to be a strong option, it doesn't just need to have okay single target or good single target. It needs to be literally, and I really do mean literally, the best single target in the game, or like second best maybe. Maybe if we're clutching third best single target. It needs to be top 3, 100%. Because Feral doesn't bring anything. It doesn't bring Leader of the Pack, Innovate. It doesn't bring any wacky, crazy, wild benefit to the raid. It doesn't bring like an AMZ. It doesn't provide anything uniquely that a raid can't get elsewhere. It's also a melee spot, which means, do you really want to replace like a Enhancement Shaman, which is gonna dominate, or do you want to replace like a sub rogue, or do you want to replace like a hunter in the range group, or a boomy or warlock or something like that, bringing something useful but also either being ranged or just benefiting your group a lot more, in order to bring a Feral Druid which has okay single target? No, you're not really gonna do it. Now, some people like myself have a situation where their guild don't mind them being feral, but realistically, this game is all about perception. I know so many of you have come to me and said, hey, my guild don't let me play feral. They said it's bad. And I've gone, what are you talking about? I'm 10 out of 10 mythic. Feral's really good, actually. It's fine. And, you know, in the previous tier with Sylvanas. And they're like, yeah, my guild leader just says that they're bad and he won't bring me. You have to change your perception, Blizzard. So you have to overbuff in order for people to understand that this spec can be played. So that's my issue here with what they've said, is I don't think it's enough in order for this to be a thing. Feral needs to be one of the strongest options. Unfortunately, that's how the game works. Unfortunately, I wish it didn't. I really, really do. Believe me. But unfortunately, that is how it works. So if that's how it's going to work, if you know your player base, if you give your player base a fork, and you know if you give them a fork, they're going to put it in the socket, don't give your player base a fork. And that's kind of your responsibility as the designer, to make sure that you're not giving them the fork, because they're going to put it in the socket. So that's the situation. But yeah, so let's actually talk about these buffs then. So our Berserk cooldown is now reduced by 0.7 seconds instead of 0.5. This is going to actually have some weird desyncing issues with our Convoke now, where Berserk is going to be about 1 minute 30, 1 minute 40, which means you're either holding Convoke for an extra 30 seconds, which is a strange thing to do, because you could have you do that twice in a fight and you could get a whole extra Convoke, which is going to be more valuable than aligning your Berserk with your Convoke. But you should still want to have your Berserk with your Convoke. That's the whole thing, right? So this is a weird change. It probably works better in Mythic Plus than it does in Raid, because in Mythic Plus you can desync them a little bit and it's okay. It's not the end of the world. Plus you have the cooldown reduction encrypted mob, which gives you CDR, which might make your Berserk line up better with your Convoke, or you know, make it so you're not holding your Berserk for quite as long. So this is more of like a Mythic Plus thing for me. This is more of like an AoE thing. It does mean that we're going to get more Berserks, which means coupled with Frenzy Band means more Frenzy Band bleeds, which means just like more single target from that. But we're desyncing our Berserk from our Convoke potentially, which means that we're not going to get our Conflux benefit, which gives us 30% increased damage on everything during that 4 seconds of Convoke, which will be really good with Frenzy Band, plus all of your normal bleeds that are on the target and everything that you're doing during those 4 seconds, right? Or like your rips on running and everything like that. Also, we get massive mastery gain, which is monumental, and to lose that now with our Berserk would just be very peculiar. So that's a bit of a weird change for me. I don't know, like they either need to push it so it's more, so that Berserk becomes a 1 minute cooldown, or like a 1 minute 10, you know, in that region, in which case do more. And that would actually probably make Feral reasonably quite strong. Imagine if you have 1 minute Berserk with 1 minute Convoke, with Frenzy Band, you'd probably actually be one of the better single target specs. You know, I've not run the numbers, but you'd actually probably end up, just based on my head thinking, you'd probably end up pretty good there. So maybe you do that, but then is that too OP? Looking at the Force-Up then, you've got Sickle Lines damage increased by 25%. This is good, but it's not quite enough in my eyes, because remember, we got bug fixed, which resulted in like a 65% damage enough because things were triple and double dipping. Which were bugs, fair enough, but those bugs allowed us to do competitive damage. So, you know, look at it however you want. People say, oh, it was PTR, it wasn't released, it was PTR, don't get upset that it got changed. And it's like, well, yeah, but that was when we were competitive. So you can always fix the bugs, but then buff the damage to be in line with what you were doing pre-bug fix, right? They also then nerfed the sickle damage on top of that from like 700% AP down to like 320 or something like that ish, if I remember correctly. So this 25% damage increase is like decent, but it doesn't make up for what we lost previously, which in my opinion, and well, not just my opinion, all Feral Druid said, hey, this nerf was way too major. You bug fixed us, which resulted in us losing massive amounts of damage, and to compensate for us losing lots of damage, you made us lose more damage. I would really like to know the devs' opinion on that, because they haven't really come out and spoken about that. That's just really wacky in my eyes. So this is good, but I don't think it's enough to really make us truly competitive on AoE. It'll, like, Feral for me now with these changes though, so my opinion on single target, this doesn't really do anything. It now makes our rotation actually very strange. And actually, you've just complicated Feral Druid even more without really gaining us much damage. For a lot of people, Feral Druid is actually more of a complex spec, and this change just makes it even more complex because now you're balancing desynced cooldowns, and none of your trinkets are gonna line up, so you're gonna have to run passive trinket. Like, this just kind of desyncs everything, which is strange. This though is solid for, you know, damage increase in AoE. Cool, damage increase in AoE because we'll get more of that in Mythic Plus. So like this, for Mythic Plus, we're probably going to be looking a lot better, but I don't know how much better. But a lot better, I think. So overall, like, I am happy that they're taking a look at this. I am happy that they are buffing Feral. I think that there's more that needs, well, there definitely needs to be more that has to be done. But I don't want to sit in the position of, hey, thanks for that thing, now give me something else. Like, thanks for the candy, now give me more candy. I don't want to just hold my hand out constantly, but I do feel like Blizzard, when they are playing around with Feral numbers, they're very, very calculated and careful not to overstep the mark, which results in them kind of pulling back too far and not really giving us a reasonable enough buff. They're very careful not to make Feral strong. Whereas with other specs, it's like massive buffs here, massive buffs there. Feral seems very conservative a lot of the time. So I'd like them to just kind of let loose a little bit more and give Feral more of a oomph buff. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Is this enough? Is this not enough? I do think this is really, like, this is really good that they're looking into it and they're giving us something. This more than anything for me, I mean, this is a bit wacky, but this is, for me, great, fantastic. I can do more AoE now, cool, because I'm a Mythic Plus gamer, so this is cool for me. Need more though. But yeah, thank you for watching, and yeah, hopefully there's more to come. Keep giving your feedback. I mean, let's hold on, let's check out some of the comments. So when's the actual Feral buff coming? Hunter's bursting. Blizz making sure Boomkins are way behind. Okay, that guy's crazy. Seems to be on the right track. We're ready 2-3 Boomkin. Yeah, I mean, the World First Guilds are still running 3+ Boomkins in Heroic Week, where they're considered really, really bad. So what does that tell you? That means they're gonna get really, really strong, and the guilds know that, which means a slight nerf is good. If anything, they could have nerfed them more. Step in the right direction for Feral, but I'm hard selling that being a sufficient enough bump to make a difference. Good change on the cooldown reduction, but that's still by far a comparatively weak cooldown. I'm not confident. See, I don't think it actually is necessarily a good change. We got to look at what we get Berserk down to. Maybe Blizzard have different numbers. I'm not confident in the improvement to the dot will offset that a lot. Both single target and an AoE burst. Yeah. Yeah, it's not, basically it's not enough. Yeah. I don't think, yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, okay, I mean, that's it. I don't think there's really anything else interesting. Yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully we get more to come. So yeah.